What's up, everybody? I'm Mckenty. This is my second channel, and this is your home for my Twitch highlights and my podcast. So if you like this and you want to see more of that and you want to join the live streams, there's a link to that in the description of this video. And with that out of the way, let's get into it. Here's what I was thinking. I came across this. They've mapped the universe of incel music across these two dimensions. There's horny versus sad on the X-axis, and on the Y-axis we have misogynist versus misanthrope. And I guess that refers to like the character of the bands or the character of their music and the messages and stuff. I thought it was pretty good. Obviously coming from a little bit more of an indie perspective, which is just not really my world. And so I thought we would redo this and maybe look at it a little bit differently. I've mapped it out like this, and I'm looking at it as like the nature of the fan bases rather than the bands, because I don't know, this is kind of how I look at things. I'm more interested in kind of analyzing fan bases than I am the bands, if that makes sense. So here's how I thought about it. We've got the sort of nature of the fan base is whether they're nerdy / smart or whether they're burnouts / dumb. On the other axis, we've got the sort of nature of their emotional state, angry versus sad, because, you know, incels are not happy people. And I should be clear, guys, this is a fucking joke. I want to say it again more clearly. Nobody should get upset about this. It's a joke, my friends. I got a lot of hurt butts about this when I announced it on Instagram. But you know what? I say fuck it. On my main channel videos, I play it safe now. I just give you guys Wikipedia articles in video format because that's what people want. They just want me to talk about the history of metal bands basically on my main channel. But here on Twitch and on the second channel on Instagram, we're going to have fun a little bit. We're going to make jokes. And everybody here on Twitch and on the second channel, we are people who understand that these are just jokes. We can all make fun of ourselves, including me. I mean, I've talked about it a million times before. I'm the old white guy with a bunch of shitty hardcore tattoos that does jujitsu and listens to Joe Rogan podcast, and I have a podcast. I'm a walking, talking stereotype just like anybody else. So I want to be clear. These are just jokes. This is all in good fun. If this kind of thing causes such immense agony in your butt that you cry about it and say that I'm toxic and negative, then I would say maybe you have some things in your life that you need to work on. Getting offended because I made a little bit of fun of Deftones, probably indicative of some other stuff going on. In any case, I'll start by naming a few bands that I had on this chart, not just limited to bands. It could be artists of any type. I'll start off by naming a few, and then we can all fill this out together, because I just thought of a few off the top of my head. There's lots more that I didn't think of. So first of all, Cannibal Corpse. I think that's a solid example of the bottom left quadrant here. Cannibal Corpse is angry. I don't think anybody's going to accuse the Cannibal Corpse fan base of being intellectual, let's just say. Cannibal Corpse is for people who wear those shoes I always make fun of. Anybody know Shoes for Crews? These guys? This is Cannibal Corpse footwear right here. That's the Cannibal Corpse fan base. And what makes them an incel band? Well, when you have songs called Fucked with a Knife or other song names that I'm not even going to repeat because I think they're so gross and fucked up, I think it's fair to say there's some underlying rage towards women there. I don't think it's a stretch to say that. Obviously, not all their fans feel that way by any means, probably not even most of them, but that's really what makes them an incel band to me. I like when I say fucked with a knife, you're like, well, that doesn't mean it's a woman getting fucked with a knife. It could be anybody. Oh yeah, I'm sure when they wrote that song, they were totally imagining that it was men. How dare I assume that they were about women? On the other part of this axis here, angry people, we're a little bit on the incel side of things, but they're smart. You know, this is Death Grips fandom. I would say Death Grips people, they're not dumb, but they're a little bit on the angry side, and they're definitely nerds. And there's a lot of incel energy coming out of that kind of world. I don't think they hate women necessarily, but it's a lot of the basement shut in, you know, subscribing to random Twitch streamers at tier 3 and then getting angry when they don't reciprocate by giving you sexual attention. Oh, and for anybody who's confused about what an incel is, incel means involuntary celibate. Typically, it doesn't have to refer to a male, but the kind of classic definition is a dude who is involuntarily celibate. And I want to be clear, I'm not making fun of anybody because they can't get laid. That's fine. There's nothing, I mean, we probably any guy watching this has been in that situation. That's fine. That's not the reason why people make fun of incels. The reason why people make fun of incels is because it comes with a lot of this kind of like butthurt rage that comes along with being an incel. There's a reason why they're not getting a lot of attention, right? Uh-oh. I blew it. Wow, I was about to give you a tier 3 sub, but you've insulted me, sir. Well, Listen, it's not too late. It would be kind of hard for me, but I think I could show you the soles of my feet, or you want heels or toes. Listen, man, I need the subs. Whatever part of my foot you want to see, it's on the menu. But anyhow, Death Grips would be another example of an artist that I would put on this map in the upper right. These are jokes, everybody. There's no need to get super upset about this. On the other hand, if you are super upset about this, that might be a good time to ask yourself why. Because if you're this angry about incel jokes, there's a reason for that. A joke at my expense, I'm outraged. Exactly. If you make a good joke at my expense, I'm the first to laugh at it. It's got to be a good joke. I'm not going to laugh at a shitty joke at my expense. But if you make a good joke at my expense, I'm all about it. Now, Polyphia. That's an artist that I would put on the upper right. Polyphia fans are nerds, no question about that. Smarter than the average bear, for sure. Polyphia fans are not dumb. And neither is the band. They're smart people. A little on the sad side, maybe not on the far right of sad, but they're on the sad side of things. We'll kind of put them maybe towards the middle a bit. The incel part, as far as where that comes from, well, that's obvious. The Polyphia fans, they might be voluntarily celibate, because the Polyphia fan, they want to fuck their guitar more than they want to fuck a human. I've made all these jokes about how the gent kids, and I know people who, Polyphia's not a gent band. You know what I mean? I've made so many comments, so many jokes about them making sexual comments about guitars. And the reason why is because it's true. Like, they're not really jokes. They're just facts. It's a thing. So I put Polyphia up there. They may not be the best example because they could be celibate by choice, but you get the point, I think. I know this is going to cause some butt agony. If you have a sensitive butt, I would suggest preparing some ointment right now, because this one's going to hurt. Here we go. Prepare for butt agony. But you know it's true. Bad burnouts. It's the truth. So I made a video a couple months ago about how, is it Stefan or Steven Carpenter? I forget. From Deftones, the guitarist, that he's a flat earther and an anti-vaxxer, apparently. And I made a video about this, and a bunch of people were mad about it because I suggested that he was mentally ill, because I think the anti-vax thing, I don't necessarily think that makes somebody mentally ill. I don't agree with anti-vaxxers, but I don't think you have to be, mentally ill to be anti-vax. But flat earth, you got to be mentally ill for that, especially someone like him who's spent so much time on airplanes and should be able to see the fucking curvature of the earth out the window. People were saying, well, he's not, how dare you say he's mentally ill? He just smokes a lot of weed. That's probably why he thinks it. Well, if you smoke so much weed that you think the fucking earth is flat, that's a little bit of a problem. That would put you squarely in the burnout category, my friends. That, I would say, is true of a lot of their fan base. People don't smoke weed 24/7 because they're happy. They just don't. So anyway, that is why I put Deftones in this category. The dudes who are too busy being sad and smoking weed to get any action. Who's next? Periphery? Ooh. Good friends of mine, but I think they would agree. I have a funny story about this, actually. I went out to dinner with Matt, the drummer of Periphery, and his now wife before they were married. When they were getting to know each other, he told her that he was in a band, and she was like, ugh. I was worried because, I think, bands, he's going to have to get a lot of groupies and stuff. And I started laughing. And she was like, well, yeah, I know, because I hadn't ever met their fans. And I was like, don't worry. You won't ever have to worry about Matt getting attention from any women, because female Periphery fans do not exist. Periphery fans are smart. I don't think they're angry. They're definitely incels, but I don't really think they're sad. I'll put them right up here. I think that's where they belong. Violent Femmes, that's a pretty good one. Violent Femmes, the original acoustic folk punk band from back in the 80s. I remember when I was in like 6th or 7th grade, the kind of people who liked Violent Femmes, definitely on the upper right, I would say. Sad nerds, the epitome of sad nerds, kind of kids who would skip school to go smoke clove cigarettes in the little woods behind the school. At the Drive-In, that's another good one. At the Drive-In fans are definitely nerds. There's no question about that. I don't know that they're super sad. Yeah, I feel like we're getting a big cluster up here already. Emmure, oh, that's a good one. You guys know I love Emmure with all my heart, but they're most definitely an incel band. There's no question about that. I mean, as I have said a million times, they have multiple songs about sucking dick. They're cutcore. Drug Dealer Friend, the song is, I Want to Watch You Suck His Dick. If that's not incel music, I don't know what is. I mean, that is like the clearest example of incel music I can think of. And Emmure fans, not intellectual giants. We'll just say it. Not a lot of PhDs you're going to run into at an Emmure show. Let's put it that way. Let's put them on the bottom left, right? Do we all feel good about that? Five Finger Death Punch, they're not incel music at all. Five Finger Death Punch is music for people that have like 6 kids. Sabaton, that's a good one. Let's take a look at that. Does everyone know this band? The European like power metal band. All their songs are about war and stuff. Very goofy band. You know, the line between European and incel can be a small one sometimes. Just look at this logo. It's got this little thing here that's like the shoulder joint on a suit of armor. I'm going to put them right around here, I think. I feel like the Sabaton or the power metal fan in general is like this strange combination of nerdy but dumb. Like the kind of people that know everything there is to know about like catapults or something like that, but they don't have their driver's license because they can't get their shit together enough to fucking fill out the forms and go pass the fucking test. I'm going to put them a little bit on the dumb side. A little angry too. Scrams. We got to talk about Scrams. So Scrams, for anybody who doesn't know, is the 90s like real emo stuff that these nerds punish me about all the time. The music is horrible. I was friends with quite a few of the people in these bands. I think they're cool people. I saw a lot of these bands. The music sucks. People in the bands are pretty cool. The fandom is awful. And needless to say, nobody who's into 90s Screamo has a great romantic life, let's say. If you're into like obscure mid to late 90s emo, these are the shows where people would like fall down on the floor shrieking into the air because they were so upset. I'm going to show you this really quick. Yeah, I don't want to go on too long, but I really have to show you an example of this because there's no way for me to communicate how ridiculous this shit is. This is my favorite example of Scrams. He looks like he's having a tantrum. This is him shrieking. This is like the kid who's like, Nintendo 64! Look at this. Having a full-on tantrum. It's so weird going on stage after a band like this plays with you. You're like, yeah, well, how about those guys? Hope they're doing all right. I went to so many shows like this back then, and they were fun, but, you know, that was 1994. If you're still into that stuff, I'm going to put you on the upper left-hand of this chart here. Who's on the bottom right here? The sad burnouts. Anything stoner rock, definitely. So what's the best example of that? Maybe like, we'll say Electric Wizard because it's hard to Google Sleep, the band. They're maybe the quintessential stoner band to me, but their logo is very hard to Google. We're going to go with Electric Wizard for this one. I mean, are you guys all familiar with this stuff? It sounds like Black Sabbath for people who smoke even more weed. This is not a group of happy people. This is not a group of people with great romantic prospects in their life. Imagine, you know, if you're a girl, again, I'm assuming, I'm being heteronormative here in this conversation. I want to acknowledge that, but imagine you're, you know, a girl in her 20s that's into alternative music and you're like, oh, it'd be kind of cool to date a guy that's into the same kind of stuff that I am. And so you hop on Tinder or whatever and you find one of these guys, you know, he's like 28 but somehow looks like he's 48 from like 1981 with a battle vest and a beard and maybe like the braids and like a bandana, drives a van and smokes weed like other people smoke cigarettes. I don't know that this is a person who's going to get a lot of action. Honestly, I think it's sad. These people are drug addicts. I mean, they really are, a lot of them, and that's just sad, and I don't mean to be overly harsh, but at the same time, if I'm not harsh, who will be? I'm going to put stoner rock in general in this category. These are some sad, burned out people. The story so far, oh, that's a good one. I love these guys. I love this band. They're my friends, but I think they would agree with me on this one. Kellen, if you happen to be watching, I'm sorry. Their fans are smart, but it's a little angry and sad at the same time. I don't know. It's hard to say. They're both angry and sad, but here's how I would imagine this would go. So they've got a few songs about this. They're fans of the kind of dudes who would send a girl like a 9-page text about why they're so in love with her and, you know, why she's so perfect and give her every compliment in the world. And then when she's like, oh, you know, I'm sorry, I don't really think of you that way. I'm not interested. I think you're a cool guy, but, you know, I'm not interested. Then instantly they flip the switch like, you fucking whore, fuck you. You disgust me. What's the song? Daughter? about like basically Parker being super butthurt that some girl went to college and like fucked some guys that weren't him. That's the story so far, Energy. And let me tell you, my friends, that's not the way to play your hand. If you go for it and the girl says she's not into it, just leave it at that. By all means, take your shot. Like, tell a girl you're into her. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. But don't make it weird. Don't write a gushy, 9-page text. If she's into you, you don't need to do that. And if she's not into you, you just made it super weird. So the move, if she turns you down, is just make it super easy. Just like, that's cool. Like, no worries. I'll see you around. And she'll be like, oh my God. Thank God he didn't make it weird. And then she's going to tell her friends like, yeah, he said he was into me. And I was like, I don't feel that way about you. But yeah, like it was fine. It wasn't a big deal. And then maybe one of her friends will like you because she'll be like, oh, well, he seems like a cool guy. And the fact that he didn't make it weird is a plus. So that's my dating advice for this stream is don't make it weird. Yeah, we got to put Descendents up there as well. Again, I love the Descendents, but they are as incel core as it gets. It's just sad. It's almost hard for me to listen. Like, do you guys know the song Sour Grapes, for example? And I know these are old songs and I'm not trying to cancel them for something that they said a million years ago or anything like that. I would say they're more like sad nerds, but it's definitely some butthurt kind of rage about getting rejected by a girl. And it's just embarrassing. Men, if a girl turns you down, just take your L. Don't be a sore loser. Do not write a butthurt song about what a whore she is. Just take the L and move on. I'm the one. Yeah, that's another one. It's like friend zone core. I don't remember the exact lyrics of the song, but it's basically like, I'm the one who was like the shoulder to cry on when you were having guy troubles. I was there for you and now you broke up with him and you should be with me. What the fuck? No, she probably thinks of you as a friend. You put yourself there, my man. This is another piece of advice. Do not think that by being the shoulder to cry on, that is ever going to turn into her being into you, that you're going to be next in line. That's not how it works. And that's weird and creepy, so don't do it. Burzum, okay. Burzum's a good one. Burzum fans are this weird combination of like nerdy but dumb. I don't think that they're angry, really. I mean, obviously they are a bit, but I think it's not so much that they're angry. I think they're just such fucking pathetic people. Like, I actually like Burzum's dungeon synth kind of shit. It's just kind of charming to me. It reminds me of Final Fantasy music. But the kind of people who are actually into Burzum are legitimately fucking sad people. And Varg is fucking pathetic. I mean, everything about this band is just pathetic. God, you gotta watch these videos of him doing karate out in the fucking backyard of his house and stuff. It's just sad. Black Flag, that's another good one. There's that one song, God, I used to love it when I was like 14. What's the one? It's like, I walk by your house and I see you're not at home. It's so bad. At the time, again, I was in like 8th grade getting shot down by girls or something like that. And I had a crush on this girl who kind of lived by me. I really resonated with that. But again, I was 14, not like 26 or however old he was when he wrote that. Like, walking by a girl's house to see if the lights are on and if she's home, that's not cool. That's super weird. Do not ever do that. That is super weird. Black Flag is very sad, kind of angry too, but I'll put them they've got some fans that are nerds, some fans that are burnouts, definitely, and they're kind of, I'm going to put them right in the middle, actually. What do we think of that? I feel like Black Flag belongs squarely in the middle. They're all of these things. Nerdy, dumb, angry, and sad, all at once. That's what I think. Oh yeah, Tyler, the Creator, that's a good one. We'll just use the Odd Future logo. How about that? Because, Earl's sweatshirt, all of them is kind of the same thing. Definitely nerdy, but also burnout. Oh gosh, this is a tough one. Again, I feel like they could kind of fit everywhere because they've got some pot smoking, burnout, loser, workaholics type. I don't mean actual workaholics. I mean workaholics like the show, right? They've got some of those people, but they got some smart nerds. But I would maybe go towards more the burnout side of things. Tyler gets angry a little bit. There's some people that vibe with that. I think I'll put it on the bottom left. Tyler's not an incel anymore. That might be true. Fair point. However, I do think a lot of his fan base kind of reflects that attitude. American football. Oh, there's a good one. They're very squarely on the upper right to me. Does everyone agree with that? Yeah, let's do Tool. Maybe these weren't the right axes for this chart because I feel like there's a lot of people who are like all of these things. And I feel like there's a lot of dumb nerds, which is one of my least fucking favorite kind of people, a dumb nerd. You know what I mean? What a terrible combination. I'm going to say Tool fans are kind of dumb. If I had to choose, I would say they're kind of dumb, not super angry, but if I had to put them somewhere on this list, I would put them maybe over here. I see everyone has had a poor interaction with a Tool fan. I mean, has anyone had a great interaction with a Tool fan? Has that ever been a thing? It's like, man, I'm not a huge fan of Tool's music, but man, their fans are the best. Has anybody ever said that? You know what? I'm just going to fucking go there. This one's going to hurt some butts too, but I'm going to go there. here is where we're going to conclude this Incel Music Compass. This one's going to hurt some butts, but here it comes. Nirvana was a great band, but let's be honest, they're Incel music. They always were. Their fans were the definition of sad burnouts and still are. I feel like that's the Nirvana fan that I remember. And granted, I'm from Western Washington, especially in the 90s. You know, it was a kind of a sad place back then, but I gotta say it. I think the Nirvana fans are sad burnouts. I think Nirvana's a great band. They seem like really cool people. But if we're talking about their place on the Incel Music Compass, I think it's here. So there we have it. That is the Incel Music Compass. I had fun making this. Let's do more of these music compasses in the future.